and your organization?
I'm with North Carolina Citizens, and we are all against the uranium mining in Virginia.
What's your concern about uranium mining there in Southern Virginia?
Well, we're concerned that the largest deposit of uranium ore in North America is situated right at the headwaters of the Roanoke River Basin, which goes into North Carolina and feeds the water and supplies water to municipalities, counties, all the way to Virginia Beach. So one, we are very concerned that the waste mine tailings cannot be contained, and they will not only get into groundwater and surface water, but the impoundments will also have huge amounts of toxic and radioactive water on top of them that will evaporate. So we're very concerned that this radioactive operation will blow up the East Coast and that will spread in terms of water and groundwater across Virginia and North Carolina.
So the results could be poisoning the entire water supply for the region. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Not only poisoning the water supply for the region, groundwater, surface water, but also destroying property values and the economies, because whenever these high-risk facilities are put somewhere, while they may bring jobs to a number of people, they drive industry, businesses, and people that would move to the state away.
Is there anything that either the government or the company that wants to do this, they could do to reassure you that they would limit the risk of any sort of...
No, there is nothing that they can do, because they know, and it's built into their best practices standard, which is called ALERA, as low as reasonably achievable. They know that it's impossible to contain the wastes. They know that they can try to minimize the waste contamination that gets out. But for instance, all liners leak. They're going to put this in a lined, what would be similar to a landfill. They're going to have it open to the air, so it'll have huge amounts of open water that will evaporate. So no, they cannot contain it, and their regulations will simply legalize the contamination.
And, for our audience in Voice of America, we go out overseas to a lot of developing worlds where these things are happening and there aren't anything that people can do about it. Is this something that could not be done, in your opinion, anywhere in the world safely?
Well, as long as we can't bury the waste, the nuclear waste, safely, and we can't mine it safely, even if they claim that nuclear energy has the least carbon footprint, the reality is they're not factoring in the contamination that comes from getting the iron ore and in burying the waste when it's done. So nowhere can they do this safely. But this is the first time they've ever done it east of the Mississippi. It's the first time that they've done it in an earthquake zone that has had recent seismic activity. It's the first time they've ever done it in floodplains where the surface and groundwater are very close to each other. So it's never been done. This would be totally an experiment, and it would be an experiment which, once it happened, there would be nothing they could do to really mitigate it, because from what I've seen, contamination in the air moves in a matter of hours, and water moves downstream, sometimes they say also in a matter of hours. So no, there is nothing they can do to convince us that they can make it safe.
Am I missing anything?
Yes. My name's...
Hold on, let me...
Cathcart.
Okay.
And I'm from Roanoke, Virginia.
Can you spell?
Cathcart is spelled C-A-T-H-C-A-R-T, and Freda is spelled with 2 E's, F-R-E-E-D-A.
Okay. What's your concern?
My concern is that we're wasting Virginia taxpayers' money on something that is never going to happen in Virginia. Because right now the Chinese have invested over $300 million and have 160 scientists with PhDs to have a thorium-powered nuclear reactor by 2017. The United Kingdom, Japan, Norway, and India are all exploring going thorium.
And thorium is not related to uranium?
Thorium is another radioactive thing that's more stable than uranium. You can't make nuclear weapons from it, and it doesn't have the waste products of plutonium. So it still has toxic waste, but not nearly as much as uranium does. It's also more prevalent and cheaper. And when the world goes that way, well, and then you have Germany, who's shut down 7 nuclear reactors, Italy that's getting ready to go nuclear free, and Switzerland's exploring it now. So when demand goes down and supply goes up, the price drops of the commodity. Right now, uranium's at $47 a pound. It needs it's low-grade ore in Southside Virginia. You need to get at least $60 a pound to make it worth extracting. The price of it's not going up. So essentially our taxpayer dollars are being wasted on something that's never going to economically ever be feasible in Virginia. And with creating regulations, it's estimated to cost $5 million a year for 5 years with this. Well, let's just see. $25 million. You don't have a better way to spend that in Virginia?
Why do you say taxpayer dollars? Why are taxpayer dollars being used in this?
Well, the working group that the governor had this past year doing all those studies and getting together, that all cost us money. And from what I heard, it was $1.4 million. And to develop the regulations, they're estimating it would take 30 experts to develop those safe regulations, supposedly safe regulations. And so the estimated cost of that is $5 million a year for 5 years. $25 million with the transportation needs that we have right now, public schools, there's not a better way to spend it. We don't have money to throw down the toilet. We need to do things that are actually going to make a difference in Virginia's lives. So it's time to stop wasting our time and money on something that's never going to happen.
Thank you.
Oh, that comes with sunshine. You don't know. Recommendations and we passed it. And they have your. You see the truck with the flag? Yeah, that's it.
Who was driving the truck? Do we know who?
My name is Leslie James. I'm from Henderson, North Carolina, and I'm here to try to stop the Virginia legislator from lifting the ban on uranium mining. It's just a profit for a few and a mess for everyone else.
So you live in North Carolina?
I live in North Carolina. I feel like it's the greed of the few outweighs the need of the many, and it's just really a mess. It doesn't have to be a mistake that causes a leak. They're already writing into the regulations that they're allowed to let the radioactive water out into our waterways, and this is a huge problem.
Why do you personally think this is a bad idea, uranium mining?
I don't want to drink irradiated water. And I get my water from Carr Lake, which is downriver from the Bannister River, which is where this uranium mining is going to take place.
So they can never make uranium mining safe?
There's no way to make it safe. It has never been mined safely anywhere in the world. Ever.
Thank you.
Uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Here they come! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold!
Pull it straight.
Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold! Yellow cake, uranium gold! Virginia legislators, don't be sold!
yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold.
Yellow cake, uranium gold.
Virginia legislators, don't be sold.
Yellow cake, uranium gold.
Virginia legislators, don't.
Well, actually,
Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold.
Yellow cake, uranium gold.
Virginia legislators, don't be sold.
Yellow cake, uranium gold.
Virginia legislators, don't be sold.
Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold.
My name's Erica Gray, and I'm reporting from Richmond, Virginia, the General Assembly at the Capitol. I'm with Nuclear Free Virginia Richmond chapter. We are here, obviously, to protest the issue of mining uranium in Virginia. We want to keep our ban on uranium mining. It's not something we want to promote or go forward with.
Legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. Virginia legislators, don't be sold. Yellow cake, uranium gold. I'm Deborah Ferruccio. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm here today at the Virginia legislature because if the legislature were to lift the ban on uranium mining, it would have what the North Carolina Department of Environment and Natural Resources says are devastating and adverse impacts on North Carolina as well as, of course, Virginia. We're talking about the destruction of water supplies to nearly 2 million people because the Bannister River and the whole Roanoke River Basin would be contaminated. I'm here because not only would it affect North Carolina and Virginia, but the radioactive air emissions would evaporate from the waste pond impoundments, and they would blow with the prevailing winds all the way up the East Coast. So I'm here because this, to me, is the biggest environmental issue that has ever faced at least the East Coast, if not beyond. If they were to mine this largest uranium deposit in North America, they would open up what would become a Pandora's box, because there is no way that they can contain the waste. Their own standards, which are called best mining practices, are based on as low as reasonably achievable standard. They even have said, the project director, that that the environmental hazards would, quote, largely be eliminated as compared to the mining operations in the distant past. But the reality is that in the present, they cannot contain them, not under the best of circumstances, and certainly not under the worst of circumstances. In a flood zone, this mining deposit is in that. It's also at the headwaters of this whole river system that feeds so many people. It's in a hurricane zone. It's in a seismic zone, and there are so many natural catastrophes that would be terrible. But under the best of circumstances, they cannot contain it, and they know it. And that's why their standards are set so that they are just, quote, reasonably achieving containment.